Welcome to the Alcohol Minimalist Podcast. I'm your host, Molly Watts. If you want to change your drinking habits and create a peaceful relationship with alcohol, you're in the right place. This podcast explores the strategies I use to overcome a lifetime of family alcohol abuse, more than 30 years of anxiety and worry about my own drinking, and what felt like an unbreakable daily drinking habit. Becoming an alcohol minimalist means removing excess alcohol from your life so it doesn't remove you from life. It means being able to take alcohol or leave it without feeling deprived. It means to live peacefully, being able to enjoy a glass of wine without feeling guilty and without needing to finish the bottle. With science on our side, we'll shatter your past patterns and eliminate your excuses. Changing your relationship with alcohol is possible. I'm here to help you do it. Let's start now. Well, hello and welcome back to the Alcohol Minimalist Podcast. With me, your host, Molly Watts, coming to you from, I'm going to go with the balmy, not Oregon. I'm going to go with the balmy Florida, which is where I've been this week. And it's definitely balmy in comparison to Oregon, while not as balmy as I'd maybe hoped that it would be when I planned this trip, which is for me something very unusual to do during the holiday season. I got to be honest, but my husband and I were celebrating 2 milestone birthdays together. This is the week in between our 2 birthdays. And so we decided to go have just a trip together, the 2 of us, and we have been having a great time. So welcome back to the podcast. Today, we're diving into the topic that I led with last week, or I sort of breadcrumbed for you. We are talking about high intensity drinking and what that means and the difference between binge drinking and high intensity drinking. And while the holidays are certainly a magical time, they can also be kind of a minefield when it comes to alcohol, right? For many of us, this season is filled with parties and family gatherings and traditions, all of which can make it very easy to drink more than we intend. And in this episode, I'm going to explain what binge drinking and high intensity drinking are and why the holidays often lead to this overconsumption, and more importantly, how you can shift your mindset to create a more peaceful relationship with alcohol, even during the busiest and maybe booziest time of the year. In fact, I don't have the stat in front of me right now, but I do know that without question, Q4 of every year, so the fourth quarter of every year, is always the highest for alcohol sales, at least in the United States. I'm pretty sure globally. It is the booziest time of the year, and we need to pay attention to that. And as always, this isn't about judgment or shame. If you're here, it means that you care about changing your drinking habits and creating that more peaceful relationship with alcohol. And that's really what matters. My goal is to give you tools to approach this holiday season with both intention and hopefully some confidence. Let's start by talking about and defining our terms. All right. So binge drinking, you have heard me talk about this on the podcast before, the actual clinical definitions. And for women, it is drinking 4 or more standard drinks. And for men, it's 5 or more standard drinks. And the timeline is a little bit fuzzy. Some people say it's in a setting and some people use 2 hours. Regardless, it's raising your blood alcohol content to above 0.08% quickly. And it's very common among young adults in college age crowds. That's why they talk a lot about it at that level. But it also happens across all age groups, especially during the holidays. Now, high intensity drinking as opposed to binge drinking. What is that? This takes binge drinking to another level, consuming alcohol at levels 2 to 3 times the binge threshold. Think 8 to 10 drinks instead of 4 to 5 in one night. Now, some of you are thinking, that sounds like a lot of drinks. Some of you are thinking, yeah, that's pretty typical for me on a party night like that. I can start drinking. Maybe you're pre-functioning before you ever go. You have a couple of drinks at home. You go to the party, come back home, have a couple of drinks when you get home. Hitting 8 to 10 is really not that hard if you're doing it over hours and hours. And studies show that high intensity drinking like that often spikes during the holidays, driven by holiday parties. You've probably all seen Christmas shows where the workplace party is getting out of hand. Maybe you've even been to a couple of those work parties. I certainly have, where people were really over drinking because the alcohol was quote unquote free, right? It can be driven by events, open bars, and of course, the celebration mentality, just like we're getting to celebrate. And for many people, that means over drinking. The key difference, while binge drinking is definitely harmful on its own, high intensity drinking carries even greater risks, from alcohol poisoning to lasting emotional and social fallout. Understanding both of these patterns is really the first step to changing them. So let's dig deeper into why the holidays create the perfect storm for over drinking in these ways. The holidays aren't just about drinking more, they are about how the season encourages drinking at a different level. All right, here's why. Number one, social expectations. Holiday gatherings are full of unspoken rules around alcohol. From office parties to family dinners, drinking is often seen as the way to get into the holiday spirit. Now, how many of you have kind of felt that pressure at a party, at a gathering? You feel kind of tense, you feel kind of stressed out, and you literally have that thought, I just want to get into the holiday spirit. And you feel like alcohol is the way to do that. I know I have certainly had that thought in the past. Number two, the reason that the holidays are another perfect storm for this high intensity drinking is emotional triggers. Obviously, the holidays can bring up all kinds of emotions. For some, it's the joy of the season they want to celebrate, but for others, it's stress or loneliness or unresolved grief. And alcohol becomes a very easy escape from those kind of difficult emotions, or an enhancer for the happy ones, right? That's what we think about it. Another reason that holidays are a perfect storm for high intensity drinking, and this is what I was getting to in the beginning about the Q4 and the highest amount of dollars. The alcohol industry spends billions reinforcing the idea that booze equals celebration. Okay. Think about the commercials we see: champagne toasts, clinking glasses, happy gatherings around spiked eggnog. We are sold the message that alcohol makes the season brighter. Of course, spoiler alert, it does not make the season brighter. It often makes it duller, but that is definitely the messaging that is there. And it's ingrained into our subconscious. We are having to bring those thoughts up to our conscious awareness and challenge them to be able to not have them fuel desire. The fourth reason that the holidays are a perfect storm for high intensity drinking and binge drinking both is tradition. Many of us have holidays traditions that revolve around alcohol, whether it's your family's spiked punch or the midnight New Year's toast. These habits can feel very deeply ingrained. I have a friend who goes on Christmas Eve every year, or around that time frame, goes to a restaurant here in the Portland area called Huber's. For those of us that have been around the Portland area, you know it. They are known for their Spanish coffees. And I got to tell you, their Spanish coffees are wonderful and they are loaded with alcohol. Okay. But that's a tradition for them. These factors make the holidays a breeding ground for both binge drinking and high intensity drinking. But awareness is really power. And knowing that these triggers are there can help us take a different approach. Let's talk about why high intensity drinking matters so much. It's really not just about feeling bad the next day, though that's certainly a potential outcome. There are real risks to this behavior. Number one, the physical risks: alcohol poisoning, liver damage, and long-term health risks like heart disease and cancer are more likely with heavy drinking. And in the short run, in the acute sense, that alcohol poisoning is a very scary and real possibility, and you got to pay attention. if you're not used to, and if you drink in a very excessive way, even at a holiday function where you might not normally do it otherwise, that's what that high intensity drinking is all about. And it very quickly can get very bad for your system. And alcohol poisoning can eventually lead to death if it's not managed. Number two, social and emotional fallout. High intensity drinking can lead to very poor decision making, arguments, fractured relationships, and these incidents often lead us with guilt and regret. Obviously, think about social fallout. I don't know about you all, but I have witnessed some pretty questionable professional choices from people at holiday parties and things where they felt really, really bad the next day. And I don't know if other people, I wasn't in a level where I was viewing them, but I wonder about management thinking that they might not be as professional as they might have once thought they were. Number three, the mental health impact. Alcohol affects sleep, increases anxiety. You all know this. And even if it's temporary, we will temporarily feel like it's happening and causing a cycle of stress and self-doubt. Even if that isn't your ongoing default stress and anxiety, you can create a cycle for yourself if you have one of these episodes of high intensity drinking. Understanding these risks hopefully helps us just make some better choices, not out of fear, but really from a place of empowerment. And when we rewrite the stories that we tell ourselves about alcohol and the holidays, it's really where the alcohol minimalist philosophy shines. This is not about all or nothing, but about creating a peaceful and mindful relationship with alcohol and how we want to include it in our lives, if at all. We have got to challenge the belief that alcohol equals joy. Ask yourself, does alcohol really enhance your holiday experiences, or does it leave you feeling drained and disconnected? True joy comes from connection, from gratitude, from being present. These are all things that do not require alcohol. They actually require your thoughts. They require you to focus your attention and to keep practicing those thoughts. Number two, we have to set intentions. Before a holiday event, ask yourself, how do I want to feel when this is over? What do I want to remember? Intention setting helps shift focus from our default habits, our unconscious desires, to more conscious choices. So we talk about the doable drink plan. We talked about it when I talked to Ian Anderson a couple of weeks ago about Sunnyside. There's actual science there about the setting of intention helps us achieve our goals. And so I really want you to go into a party with a plan. And it's much better to have a plan in place. And even if you don't stick to that plan, having the plan intentionally there and questioning yourself in those moments about how you're going to stay on plan is more likely to help you at least avoid high intensity drinking and binge drinking, even if you don't stick to your plan. Hey there, it's Molly taking a quick break to talk with you about Sunnyside. You all know that Sunnyside is my app of choice and my recommendation for a tool to help you create sustainable change around your drinking. One of the things that I love about Sunnyside is their commitment to improving the user experience. And that has been a constant since I started working with them nearly 3 years ago now. Since June this year, they have added the Android version of their iOS app. So now it's available for Apple users and all Android users. It's the same Sunnyside experience across all of those devices. And it's just another example of their commitment to improving the user experience. Another example would be the fact that now you can set it up for push notifications. So you can take all of the daily texts, the reminders, and put them into a push preference so that you determine how you want to receive the support from Sunnyside. I would love for you to check it out. Go to www.sunnyside.co/Molly to get started with a 15-day free trial today. Number three, we got to create new traditions. The holidays are the perfect time to create traditions that don't center around alcohol. Here are a few ideas. In fact, I just had this conversation with a couple of my coaching clients. How about a Hallmark movie marathon? We got to find something that helps us when we talk about get into the holiday spirit, right? What better than to pour yourself a festive non-alcoholic drink, grab up a cozy blanket, and zone out on one of those cheesy feel-good holiday movies? You know the kind. Snow-covered meets cute, and small-town charm can really be your go-to holiday ritual. How about a cookie decorating night? Invite friends and family if you want to for an afternoon of baking and decorating. And, it's a tradition that kids and adults will both like. And I used to have this idea of going for a triple C for cookies, cocoa, and caroling. And I think that's something that you could investigate. Winter walks, take an evening stroll to admire holiday lights. And it's a peaceful way to connect with your loved ones and to decompress after a busy day. Again, take a cup of warm tea with you or a cup of hot cider and just walk around and enjoy. Craft nights, DIY, make holiday wreaths, ornaments, gifts together. You can create something special while spending quality time with friends and family. Game nights, puzzles, whether it's board games or a big holiday puzzle, these activities keep the focus on fun and connection. I also want you to remember mindful drinking tools. If you choose to drink, practice mindful drinking. Sip slowly, alternate it with a non alcoholic drink, and really check in with yourself regularly, asking yourself, do I need this drink? Is this drink going to be worth it? I have a whole podcast episode on is the drink worth it? Ask yourself, is this drink adding to my experience or am I just drinking out of habit? Bringing awareness to your choices empowers you to make decisions that really align with your long-term goals and those intentions. Around here, we talk about moving beyond that all or nothing mindset. This isn't about demonizing alcohol or forcing yourself into strict rules. It's about creating peace in your choices, peace in your mind, and peace in your relationship with alcohol. Here are a few steps to keep in mind as you approach this last part of December, where we're going to have the last 2 weeks with a lot of holidays. Focus on your why. Why do you want to change your drinking habits? Maybe it's to feel healthier, reduce anxiety, or create better memories. Keep that why front and center when you are faced with your toddler brain, your lower brain, asking you to make choices that are off of your plan. Practice self-compassion. If you slip up, don't let guilt spiral you into more drinking. There's no screw it, I blew it. This is a journey and it's not about being perfect. You've got to learn to take those missteps in stride and to really reflect on them, look at them and decide, how am I going to use this experience to help me move forward the next time that I'm given this opportunity to practice? As we wrap up, I want to leave you with this thought. The holidays don't have to be a season of regret, of hangovers, or feeling out of control. By understanding the difference between binge drinking, high intensity drinking, and by rewriting the holiday narrative, you can actually create a season that's filled with joy, with connection, and with presence. This is about addition, not deprivation. And I want you to hear me say that again. This is about addition, not deprivation. You're adding clarity, confidence, and connection to your life, not taking away anything of real value. So, this holiday season, I encourage you to ask yourself, how do you want to feel on January 1st? Are you getting ready to join me for Dryuary? Do you want to feel energized, proud, and present? That future is within your reach, and it starts with the choices that you make today. It does not start in January. It does not start by overindulging so much. Trust me, you're not going to feel like jumping in full throttle on January 1 if you overindulge all the way through December 24th through December 31st. You have got the opportunity to make great choices right now, December 16th through the 31st. If you haven't been practicing your consistency by doing something small each day, I really encourage that as well. And I want you to have the very best success in 2025. And it starts with making small choices, small changes now. Transformation is now. It starts today. What can you do? What are you willing to do in the next 5 minutes that is going to help you make better choices later? Help yourself start to create sustainable change in your life. If you enjoyed this episode, I hope you will share it with someone who might need to hear it this holiday season. Don't forget to connect with me over in the Alcohol Minimalist Facebook community. We are definitely here to support each other every step along the way. As always, you can always reach out to me directly, molly@mollywatts.com. I love having conversations, helping people, and especially during the holiday season, I love hearing from you. I love hearing what's working, what you're still challenged with, and I hope helping everybody make this holiday season just a little bit brighter in the true sense of the word. Until next time, choose peace, drink mindfully, have a holiday season worth celebrating, and I will see you on Think Thursday, fresh, hopefully in a very happy mood from coming back from my little mini vacation here in December. Take care, everybody. Hey, thanks for listening to the Alcohol Minimalist Podcast. Take something you learned from this week's episode and put it into action. Changing your drinking habits and creating a peaceful relationship with alcohol is 100% possible. You can stop worrying, stop feeling guilty about overdrinking, and become someone who desires alcohol less. I work with people in 3 ways. You can learn about them over at www.mollywatts.com/workwithme. Or better yet, reach out to me directly. It's molly@mollywatts.com. We'll jump on a call and discuss what's best for you. This podcast is really just the beginning of our conversation. Let's keep it going.